Good morning, everybody. I welcome you to this live broadcast on Alliance in Motion Global. My name is sethaimkwei. I am an entrepreneur with Alliance in Motion Global. In this presentation, I'm going to speak about things I wish I knew about employment before I was 18 years. There are some important truths about employment I didn't know before I was 18 years. In my country, the legal age from which a person is considered to be an adult is 18 years. So what it means is that when I was starting my life as an adult, there are some important things about employment I did not know. And so it greatly affected the decisions I made, the choices I made, the career path I chose for myself, and that greatly affected me, especially financially. By the grace of God, now I know, and after I got to know, I have changed my choices, I have changed my decisions about life, and my financial life has also greatly changed since I got to know this important truth about employment I didn't know when I was 18 years. I'm going to share them with you, and I hope that they also help you to make important decisions for your future, especially if you are also not yet 18 years. And if you know people who are not yet 18 years, but you would want them to make good choices in life, you can share this video with them so they can also know these things before they are 18 years. The first thing I didn't know before I was 18 about employment is that there are not enough good jobs. I didn't know that. I didn't know there are not enough good jobs. When I was young, I kept hearing from my parents and other friends, family and relatives that I have to take my studies very serious, and that was a good advice. I was told I need to pass very well in school. That was good advice. But where I had problem with, but I didn't know then, I know now, was when they added that if I go to school and do very well, I will come and get a good job. And when I get a good job, my life will change for the better. That was not accurate. Because after I did everything they asked me to do and passed very well throughout my school, I was one of the best students in all the classes I have been in. I did very well because I was following the advice. And when I came out of school, I realized that there were not enough good jobs for me. I didn't know. If I knew, I probably would not have put all my abilities 100% into just going to school, because I thought I only needed to go to school and put my all into school. Then when I come out, I'll get a good job and my life will not be the same. I came out, I realized that the first thing was that there were not jobs in the first place. And so I was in the house for a while before I got a job. And when I got the job, I realized that it was not the best of jobs I had wished I had gotten. I didn't know that there are not enough good jobs. The second thing I didn't know was that I never knew employees never become rich. I didn't know that. I was told if I get a good job, my life will be better for the rest of my life. I didn't know that when they say better, the better does not include riches. Maybe you gain experience. Maybe you learn how to be under control, because when you are working, you are told what to do, you are instructed about what to do, and sometimes that can build in you good character of obeying instructions and respecting your leaders. That is also good. But never ever did I know that employees never become rich. There is nobody who works from 8 to 5 rather, whoever becomes rich. The richest people in every country does not include employees. And so if you want to be financially free and rich, then I want to tell you that you must know that if you go the way of employment and become an employee, you must know you will never become rich and financially free. I didn't know this before I was 18 years. The third thing I didn't know before I was 18 years was that I didn't know employees were slaves to their bosses and their jobs. When I was in school, I thought I was a slave in the school because I had to sleep by a certain time in order to get up very early so I can get to school as early as possible, because if I get to school late, I would be punished. When I was in the school, I had to do what my seniors and my teachers tell me. When I was in school, I was confined to the four corners of my classrooms, and whether I like it or not, I had to be in that classroom for the whole time that I was in school. When I was in school, I was only given a little time as break to go out of the classroom and get some fresh air for myself. And I had to stay in the school until a certain time before I can close and go home. I thought I was a slave when I was in school because of this pattern of life I experienced in the school. So when I completed school and I was going to get a job, I thought I was now going to be free forever. Then when I got the job, I realized that I also had to get to work by a certain time. Otherwise, I could be sanctioned or even sacked. So therefore, I had to sleep by a certain time so I can get up by a certain time in the morning and prepare and be ready and get to the office by a certain time. Otherwise, I will be punished. And I was also confined to my office. I had to stay in my office, stay behind my table, sit on my chair, and work sometimes throughout the day. And I was only given a few minutes in a day as break, where I can go out and also have some fresh air. And I had to stay in the office until a certain time before I could go home. The same pattern that made me believe I was being treated as a slave when I was in school, the same pattern repeated itself when I was working. I thought I would be free, but I didn't know that if I get a job, I would still continue to behave and be treated like a slave. You have to obey instructions. Do what your bosses ask you to do. Even if you believe it doesn't make sense, you will still have to do it. This was the same slavery pattern that I was experiencing in school. I didn't know that after school, I will continue to be a slave to my job and to my bosses. I didn't know that before I was 18. The next thing I didn't know, number 4, is that I didn't know before I was 18 that employees are on the expense side of the financial books and statements. Before I was 18, I heard a lot of people, and when I was in school also, I heard a lot of people say that the human resource or the employees are the best assets of any institution. I believed it. But when I got a job and I started working, I realized that I was actually on the expense side of the financial books. I was considered an expense. So when they list the expenses the company had made, I was there as part of wages and salaries. I was not considered an asset. In the real world, I was an expense. And every rational and sensible human being will do everything and anything he or she has to do to reduce expenses. That is why every year you see that our union leaders and our employers will be sitting around a round table arguing, and the workers say, increase our salary. Employers say, no, we cannot increase. Have you not realized that anytime there is a global economic crisis, the things that are mostly affected are jobs. Employees are sacked. Have you ever heard any institution that has properties and buildings that in the economic crisis, they have broken down their buildings, destroyed their properties, destroyed their plant and equipment because they are in a crisis? Nobody does that. Why? Because they are assets. So how come if the human resource are assets in global economic crisis, they are sacked? Employees are on the expense and not the asset side of any company's books. I didn't know before I was 18 that if I become an employee, I will be an expense and not an asset. So anybody who tells you that the human resource are the most important asset of any company, tell the person that I said from my experience, employees are not assets. Employees are expenses. And when companies are in crisis, they do away with employees because every rational human being reduces cost and expense in a crisis. Number 5 thing I didn't know before I was 18 about employment is that I didn't know employees work for money instead of money working for them. As an employee, you sell your time. And so you are paid based upon the number of hours or number of days you work. And that is linear income. Because you must sell your time for money. So you are working. Why? Because you want to get money. And nobody becomes rich working to get money. I didn't know this. So my intention was to get a job. If I had done this, I probably would have made better choices and decisions that would have caused me to rather have money work for me. And how could I have made money work for me? By either investing or running a business. That is the only way I could have made money work for me. But I didn't know. Because I was told, go to school, pass well, come out, become somebody who will get a good job and your life will not be the same again. That is untrue. Employers, they use employees to generate residual income. And the richest people in the world are richest because they earn residual income. They use employees to generate residual income. And one important way of identifying residual income is when the owner of the business can travel and not even be involved in the business, yet there are people who will run the business for him to make money. Even though he is no longer working, he will still make money. Why? Because he has a system and he has employed people who are running the system to generate money for him with or without his involvement. So he will use employees, generate residual income, become rich, but at the end of the month, he will go and take his attendance book and check the number of hours or days the employees have come to work, and he will pay them based upon the hours they have worked. And because everybody can never give more than 24 hours a day, if you are an employee, you will never become rich. So these are the things I didn't know about employment before I was 18. And it made me look for employment after finishing university, thinking that would change my life. I got into employment and my life did not significantly change because I didn't know these things. But now you know. And if you know anybody who is less than 18 and you want the person to make better, wiser choices that will affect his financial life and future, then share this video with them. Let them also know the truth. They can decide to go the way of employment. That is their business. But at least bring this to their attention. Let them know these things about employment before they are 18. And even if you are more than 18 and you have come to know these things, you can also change your choices and make better decisions, because it is not too late to start. And when I realized these things, I decided to do something that was going to take away all these negativities about employment away from me. And my search led me to network marketing. And my continuous search in network marketing, of course, led me to the #1 network marketing company in the world, Alliance in Motion Global. And so if you want to start making choices that will deliver you from the difficulties and challenges of employment, 1, I recommend network marketing to you. 2, I recommend Alliance in Motion Global to you. Network marketing with Alliance in Motion Global is stress-free, because no target, no quota, no auto ship, no pressure on you. Concentrate on your current job. After work, just be online 2 to 3 hours a day, and you can still make it very big. And soon, like me, you will be getting your annual salary in just 1 month. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for watching. You are welcome to the wonderful world of Alliance in Motion Global, where we turn ordinary people into extraordinary multimillionaires in more than 200 countries worldwide. Happy Business Day.